It's a matchup that both these schools have had circled on their calendar since the 2022 schedule release. Rival schools coming to clash here at Bengal Stadium in a catfight. It's Centennial against the Blaine Bengals, a red versus blue matchup of two familiar foes facing off in the north suburbs. Blaine and Centennial has split the last 6 meetings. We'll see what the next has in store here on North Metro TV. Into Bengal Stadium here in the campus of Blaine High School, a rivalry matchup to bring you a North Metro TV between the 3-2 Centennial Cougars and the Blaine Bengals, meeting once again in this annual rivalry series. Should be a fun one here tonight. We're looking forward to it on North Metro TV. 2 of our network schools that we cover, Bill, both 3-2. Matt Dean, welcome you into the broadcast booth, and Bill, we should have another terrific matchup in what's been a very even series historically.
Yeah, great game last year. Both these teams traded touchdowns. It was tied at half, 14-14, as you see on the highlights here at Centennial, and it was a really terrific game.
Preston Myers ends up toting the rock and taking it in for Blaine. These two teams really traded blows in a really competitive first half. Lance Nielsen Jr. last year as a junior made a big impact. He rushed in for 2 scores, including the one you see there in the first half. It was all Cougars in the second half. How about Nielsen passing for a touchdown to put the Cougars up? They would have the only 2 scores of the second half, break that 14-all tie, and take it by the final of 26-14. And that close game has not been an anomaly as we take a look at this head-to-head matchup, Bill. It is a series favoring Blaine historically, but these two teams have split the last 6 meetings.
Yeah, and we expect a similarly competitive matchup tonight. Both teams come in with a 3-2 record under this full moon, and both teams have different strengths, so it'll be interesting to see which team's strengths win out on one of the first unseasonably cool nights we've had this fall.
Centennial's had some injuries on the offensive side of the football. They're starting to get a little bit more healthier tonight. We'll talk about how they got their QB returning, Bill. But Lance Nielsen Jr. has been an anchor for this Cougar team. They are one of the best defenses in the state in stopping the run, and then Nielsen will help you out run the ball a little bit too.
Well, Lance Nielsen Jr., Matt, is just an athlete. He stars for this Cougars team on both sides of the ball. He's an impact defensive back. And then he kind of plays a sort of a split back position where he can tote the rock, he can throw it as you saw, he can obviously catch it out of the backfield as well. So he's really an all-purpose back for this Cougars team, and he's really important, especially considering the absence of their main tailback in Maverick Harper.
Preseason all-Metro pick for the Cougars, having a terrific season, as you saw, playing running back and linebacker. Well, they're going to have a pretty good Bengal team to contend with in an entirely new dimension for Blaine this year, who've really gotten it going on the ground with this pop-up running back, a junior, Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, a supreme athlete. They got him off the basketball team a couple of years ago. He'd never really played football, and then he played on the JV team last year. Now, as a junior, he's taking his star turn at the Blaine starting tailback, and he's toting the rock 20-25 times a game. So they're really relying on him to control the ball and control the clock and trying to grind these games down. But he has been one of the big impact players for this Bengals offense.
On the defensive side of the ball for Blaine as well, too, we are going to see this man, Jack Johnson, flying to the football. He is now playing safety for the Bengals in 2022.
Yeah, Johnson, the leading tackler for this Bengals team last year, moved from linebacker, just willing to do whatever the team needs. And in this case, that's moving to safety. 42 tackles, 4 passes defended this season as a defensive back. And Johnson, in his senior season, still making an impact on the defensive side of the football.
We expect it to be a big battle for the grounds here tonight. Blaine, who's starting to get the ball churning on the ground as of late. Centennial, who are one of the best at stopping the run. We've got a rivalry matchup coming up in the north suburbs. Centennial and Blaine next on North Metro TV.
When I got the opportunity to get her, there wasn't no choice. I told myself, I'm gonna take custody of my daughter. It's my baby. That's what we're supposed to do as men. Take care of our home, build a foundation, you know what I'm saying? Love, our money, she's my purpose. I'm here to walk with her, hold her hand until she can walk alone. Ain't nothing like being a father in this world.
It's just a different game, you know. I get chills every time thinking about it. It's just a huge game, you know, rivalry game. Everybody loves those games. That's what you live for.
Well, obviously they're the next door neighbors, border battle. Just always has been there, you know, since youth. So it's gonna be an exciting one.
Been like this for years, 30 plus years. You know, our coach, when he was here, they were still grinding out with Blaine and everyone who we've been playing. You know, we might go play Minnetonka and have a big rivalry with them, but when we play Blaine, you know, it doesn't matter the record of someone. We could be 8-0 and they could be 0-8, but we'll always grind it out and the better team will come on top.
Half their kids live in Blaine too, so we know a lot of them. It's going to be a good game.
I know we hit harder, faster than them.
Last year, we lost this game, so we're coming for a revenge tour. We're locked in. We know that this is going to be a dogfight. We're not going to walk in there and just take it. I'd say everybody's ready to go, focused.
Well, some war paint getting put on, and we got a border battle here to decide at Bengal Stadium. Welcoming you back here to North Metro TV's presentation of the Cougars versus the Bengals. Oh, we had a terrific pregame ceremony here to get us set, pumped up for some football. Matt Dean alongside Bill Hupp, and all the little extra bells and whistles to add to the pomp and circumstance tonight.
If you can't bust them out on a night like tonight, Matt, when can you use them? As this is a big game. They're introducing the Blaine Bengals at midfield right now, and it's just very exciting. Both teams, you can tell, are really fired up for this one. You can throw out the records when they're different, but this year they're 3-2, and we talked about it in the pregame, Matt. This is a very even game. It's going to be which team makes mistakes and which team can ball a little bit more on the ground, can move the ball, can move the chains, and pick up first downs.
Biggest thing just looking ahead to this matchup for me, Bill, was what Centennial is going to be able to do to stop what has become a really well-balanced Bengal attack. They've always been a spread offense these last few years, especially since Mike Law took over as the offensive coordinator and now the head coach. Centennial are really good at taking away the run, which has become a way for the Bengals to be really effective in both phases of the game with how they've established that ground game with that player that we keyed in on, Michael Douglas, the running back.
Yeah, Michael Douglas is just having such a tremendous season for Blaine as that kind of bell cow back. Over 100 carries, averaging more than 5 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns on the ground. And he has really just been Mr. Consistency. And, you know, Blaine, outside of one slip-up, really in a tough game against Minnetonka, they have really just week in and week out done what they do. They've been consistent through the air. They've been consistent running the ball on the ground. And that's, you know, part of the key to being one of the better teams in the state and being able to play with anyone in the state is being able to show up on a week in and week out basis and know what your team's going to bring to the table.
One of the other elements I think that might be interesting, Bill, if this is a close game like we expect it to be, how about Miss Clutch down there, Kendall Stadden, who we thought was not going to be available tonight. The Bengal soccer team are playing Park Center this evening, but they're dressing in number 10, the terrific future Golden Gopher soccer player Kendall Stadden, available for the Bengals tonight.
13 goals for the Blaine Bengals soccer team this year, 10 for 10 on extra points and 2 for 3 on field goals. Her only miss more than 45 yards away, and a lot of college kickers aren't hitting that these days. So Kendall Stadden is a weapon. She's a threat for Blaine, and in a close game like this, and Blaine's played a lot of close games this year, someone like Kendall Stadden, you know, can be the difference. You know, as you get down there, if your offense, if a drive stalls out, it's always nice to know you don't have to go for it on 4th down. Kendall Stadden can get you points.
Yeah, Bengals uncharacteristically have been in a couple of blowouts on the positive side of that last 2 weeks. Wins against STMA and at Totino Grace by multiple possessions after they got up to a 1-2 start. Centennial comes into this one having won 3 of their last 4, including an 18-14 come from behind win when they were at one point backed up 14-0 against the Wayzata Trojans at home last week.
Yeah, Centennial's having kind of a Blaine-like season. Blaine last year had, you know, basically every single win was decided by a single point, by a single score, and this year that's what Centennial's got.
Is Edwin Diaz stepping onto the mound at Citi Field right now? No, we're about to kick off here at Bengal Stadium as we are pumped up here for this one on a presentation of North Metro TV. Matt Dean, Bill Hupp alongside with you for the ride in this one. For Blaine, it is Tyler Terry who is going to take the kickoff for the Bengals. A couple of men back deep, including Ty Burgoon for Centennial. He'll be paired up alongside his man, and all the pieces in place. We're set to play football here from Bengal Stadium in Blaine, Minnesota. Terry's kick is up far side of the field, where this is received by Burgoon just inside the 10. He will take it out for a return and able to carry a couple of tacklers with him as he'll push out to about the 30, a little shy of it here, where Centennial will start their drive. Blaine won the kickoff, deferred to receive in the second half.
Yeah, a popular choice these days. And Matt, I think a big key tonight, as it always is with rivalry games, as we take a look at the starting lineups for both teams, which team will be able to control its emotions more.
Blaine have a very well-balanced offense, 10th in 6A football in rushing and passing, but Bill, Centennial with a lot of terrific players in all levels. They have been one of the best in stopping the run this year.
Yeah, no question about it, and it's going to be interesting. I think a lot more under center work for Centennial and Dalen Cummings tonight than maybe if they'd had Maverick Harper in there.
Ends up being a handoff with Dalen Cummings tucking it into Jaden Hill with the first carry of the game, and he picks up about 4 yards here for the Cougars to start the night. And second down here coming up. So big absence right now for Centennial. They have been without Maverick Harper since he came out of a game injured in week 2. Terrific tailback, a junior that emerged this year. Mike Diggins, before the game when you were talking to him, Bill, is here's Cummings rushing it out just shy of the midfield line. He will pick up the first down. And it moves the change for the Cougars the first time tonight. Diggins said Harper was a guy who was on pace and they felt like was going to be a 1,000-yard rusher this year. So in enters Dalen Cummings, now returning from an injury, and he's going to have to pick up a lot of the slack in this Cougar offense now.
He is, but it's a huge get to have him back under center because he is really the straw that stirs the drink in this RPO offense.
It is Cummings with a keeper this time, and he's swallowed up. He'll be dropped back to the 35. As several Bengals flying to the football, led by Zach Halverson, senior outside linebacker. And it's going to be no loss on the play. Down in 10 after the run.
Halverson, 39 tackles on the season. You just look up and down this Bengals lineup. Johnson with 42, Easton Olsen with 40, Henry Morris, a team leading 55. They're just tackling machines out there in that front seven.
Second down and 10. Cummings under center. He will keep, fake the handoff, and he is dragged down from behind by Jalen Herlinger. After advancing a couple yards shy of the first down marker, they'll spot him at the 46.
Yeah, pickup of 7 there on second down, and that's what they want him to do. Follow his lead blockers. If you're not going to hand it off to the first man through, you see him fake it here to Hill and then just kind of follow him. And it's a well-read right there by Cummings.
We saw in the starting lineup, Hill and Nielsen announced as the starters at running back tonight, as well as Ty Burgoon, who will play a little bit of wide receiver. Here they go with Hill up the middle for the second time. And close call. They give him the first one, and it will move the chains here for Centennial.
5 plays, 5 runs so far for Centennial, and it's kind of what we expect from both of these teams. Playing a little more balanced. They'll throw it a little bit, but Centennial prefers to keep it on the ground as much as possible.
Interesting hearing from Mike Diggins, the 13th year head coach, who they really had come into the year, Bill, kind of building their offense, assuming they would have that terrific back in Maverick Harper, but for now making some adjustments. Here is Cummings being stood up and driven back by the terrific senior Jack for the Bengals.
Still match 3, however. That positive yardage as Cummings has already totaled it 4 times in this first half for the Cougars. But yeah, you can never count on an injury. You have to plan as if everyone will remain healthy, and they built that RPO offense around the combo and Harper.
Johnson and stop had a high 8 tackles in this matchup with the Cougars last year. Flag flying here as the snap was got off by Centennial on second and 7.
Number 6, 5-yard penalty, second.
Jaden Hill, who was trying to fill in for Maverick Harper in the backfield, a little flummoxed on that call, but this is one of those things where Centennial, they can ill afford to make mistakes. Being a running offense, you don't want to set yourself up behind the chains.
This will bring up second down and 12 now here for the Cougars after the first penalty of the game assessed to Centennial. Set up with that kind of flex bone triple option look. Tight end in motion is Soroka. And it's now some movement from Nielsen as they will go with Cummings out in the flat to the right-hand side for another rush. And he will get past the original line of scrimmage, cross the 40. And Cummings, who has dealt with some injuries this year, it's Hill who actually is down right now for Centennial.
He looks to be in some serious pain. Cummings again keeping it, and he's pretty decisive hitting that hole. Managed to pick up 8 on that rush and make it a manageable 3rd and 4, but we'll see if we can see what happened to Hill here.
Hill going out for the block.
And he just got yanked down by big number 11 for and Gavin Ecker for the Bengals, and I wonder if his foot may have gotten caught up in that turf.
So we've got a down Cougar player here. Will give us a chance to check in this head coaching matchup. Mike Law is in his 4th season as the head coach of the Bengals. Been around quite a while. He was the offensive coordinator on that terrific Bengal run all the way to the state tournament, and in the 2018 staff, Bengals got out to an 11-0 start before losing to Eden Prairie in the state semifinals that year, and now, as we said, leading this Bengal program for a 4th straight season.
Yeah, and he's done a nice job of kind of reinventing. They lost a lot last season. They lost a lot of contributors to graduation, but they managed to reload with Frank Daniels, the junior quarterback. Matthew Plankers is a junior, so they have a big junior class. As we take a look at Mike Diggins, and he almost needs no introduction.
Mr. Centennial, an alum in 1982, a graduate of Centennial High School. He was part of their 2017 Hall of Fame class, and a guy who, aside from racking up over 60 wins at the helm of the football program Also coached the girls hockey program for a little 12-year stretch from '99 to 2010. So Mike Diggins, a legend in the halls of Centennial High School. And it was fun hearing that little preview of the matchup where a lot of the Centennial players were talking about how, oh, Mike Diggins, used to tell us about those games that he would play against the Bengals battling, 20, 30 years ago for Centennial himself.
Yeah, it kind of sets up the historical precedent for this long-time rivalry and gives the kids a sense of what it was and what it has been. But the last thing he needed was Jaden Hill to go down with another tailback injury for the Cougars.
3rd down and 4 coming up for the Cougars after a long delay for the injury. It's Cummings tucking it into the hands of Dylan Carver, who stumbled forward at the middle. It looked like he came up about a yard, half yard short. And they will call it short here. 3rd down after a gain of 3.
Now this is 4-down territory. Obviously they're kind of in no man's land right here. No point in punting. And you're only about a half yard short. So they feel confident they can get behind those big boys up front and get the push they need for the 1st down.
Carver's in as the B-back, lined up directly behind Cummings. That's Nielsen in motion. Look to the sideline here by Dalen Cummings, the junior quarterback. 7.5 minutes left to play, first quarter still. Motion by Nielsen again. QB run up the middle from Cummings, and it looked like he got the push from the offensive line. Nicely done to pick up the 1st down and then some.
3rd first down of the drive picked up. 10th play of the drive coming up here for Centennial. This is just what they needed to start things. This drive nearing the 5-minute mark here, and they got the ball and they have marched it down into Bengals territory and picked up a fresh set of downs as they continue to just chew up clock.
34 yards on 6 carries for the junior QB Dalen Cummings, a 2nd-year starter for the Cougars. Here he is handing it off. Slanting run from Ty Burgoon, and he gets piled on top of by Frusso, a 6'2 senior, one of the corners leading the gang tackle for the Bengals after picking up about 4 or 5 on the play.
10 plays so far, Matt, all 10 on the ground. Clearly they want to keep it away from this dangerous Bengals offense and just continue to move things. Not in any hurry, huddling up after every play, and so far their approach has been successful.
So here it's coming up again for Centennial on 2nd down and 6. They will tuck it to Nielsen, who busts through a tackler to get out to about the line to gain for Centennial.
And again, this is exactly what they want on 1st and 2nd down. 4 yards, 5 yards, and just making things manageable as Lance Nielsen, a guy we spotlighted in the pregame, with an impressive 2nd effort to break tackles and pick up 1st down yardage.
It is the 4th 1st down for the Cougars on this opening drive of the night. And it's taken just a shy of 6 minutes here in the clock so far. Cougars try to keep rolling with this ground and pound style offense. They've gone to a lot more of this look as of late since the injury to Maverick Harper, the kind of 2 wingback look. So there's a little bit of option trickery, ends up being a run up the chute for the Cougars. And stopped up after just a moderate gain here from Lance Nielsen once again in his 2nd straight carry.
Yeah, and this is the kind of game where you ride your veterans like Nielsen, who know what this game's all about, who have performed in this game before, and 4 hard yards picked up on that carry by Nielsen.
Nielsen last year a 50-yard rushing performance. He accounted for 3 touchdowns for the Cougars, including 1 through the air as a passer, and then a couple on the ground as well too. Now a senior captain, 6'1", 195 pounds, wearing number 5. That's him in motion. It is going to be a keeper by Cummings as he slants out right and gets swallowed up after a gain of about 3 or 4. Still a couple of yards here still to go for the Cougars.
But again, you've gotten in that manageable position. And we talked about Kendall Stadden as a kicker. Eli Nowaski for Centennial is a terrific kicker as well. 5 for 5 field goals this year and 6 for 6 on extra points. Hasn't missed a kick all season. So Nowaski also a potential weapon in a tight game.
Cougars right now maybe hunting for that big blow early, so might be 4 down territory, but a big 3rd down and 2 here coming up. Either way, Cummings Under center, Nielsen motioning. He will hand off to Carver. Lowers the shoulder and clocks his man down. He's going to be short of the end zone, but what a big body blow laid down by Carver. There is a flag down on the field.
Flag in the backfield. We got the ref mic'd up tonight.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 72 and 53. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, 3rd down.
Goes against the left guard Campbell and the center Hackett. Moving things back here for the Cougars. Take a look at that center and left guard combo with the chop block.
Well, Mike Diggins doesn't agree with that call, and it's a pretty big blow. Again, you're setting yourselves back near the 30-yard line and well behind the chains. 2 penalties now for 20 yards on the first drive, and the opening drive for Centennial.
Sets up a 3rd down and 17 now for a team who has not passed the ball yet tonight. Still the opening drive of the game. 13 plays in a drive that started back at their own 30. Here they come with a tucked in offensive look with the 2 wingbacks. Cummings will drop back 2 pass, looks near side, floats it down, or it's pulled in by Josh Lee. He will get down at the 3 for the Cougars.
First play goes for 25 yards. They go to the 6. Lee does more as a defensive back for Centennial, but when they do throw it, Dalen Cummings shows he's got the arm to get it down there.
Just Lee's 5th catch of the season in an offense that doesn't throw the ball all too often. Had 68 yards receiving coming in, and Lee pulling down a big one. A junior for Centennial. 1st down and goal here from the 3. Centennial looking to pick it up if they run up the middle, and they will be stopped up short here after a gain of 1 with Cummings running it once again.
And you could see their game plan. Cummings, his 8th carry of the drive. And again, they're going to be deliberate, and boy, there's a world in which they could have this ball for the entire first quarter. The way they're going right now. 2nd and goal now from the 2.
It could happen. I think the Cougars would say, maybe punch it in right
now. But they want points, no doubt.
2nd down and goal from the 2. They've got Carver lined up as the main tailback. He did. Oh, it was Cummings. He did keep it. Everybody else swarmed on Carver, and then Cummings trots into the end zone to make it 6-0 Cougars. What a play fake out of that triple option read.
He had everybody, including us, fooled, and you could see him just kind of saunter into the end zone, look to his left at the defensive back. No one knew. Very casual, and what an opening drive for Centennial.
Maybe a little bit of a wry smile as he turned around. I mean, he just took that out untouched into the end zone. 2-yard score for Dalen Cummings, and what'll be the junior captain's first of the season rushing.
I've never seen a lawnmower on the field with that turf.
Certainly not on an AstroTurf.
No. They've spotted a bubble or something. Who knows?
Wow, this is definitely a first.
But how about Centennial marching it down? They overcome 2 penalties for 20 yards. They still managed to pick up 5 first downs on that drive and cap it off with a 2-yard touchdown run. No idea what's happening here.
Mike Law just ripping the lawnmower out of the hands.
Not now, kid.
Oh, man. You'll see it all in the Blaine Centennial rivalry for how long this one's been being played.
This is your Kevin Harlan moment, Matt Dean. Narrate.
The lawnmower has been relegated to the track.
And the poor kid. And what? They're escorting him out. Was that a protest?
I don't know. Here's going to be Eli Nowaski coming up for the place kick. He will drive it through here for the extra point. 7-0 Cougars, as Nowaski, as we said, has been money this year for Centennial.
Yeah, Nowoski now on the season 7 for 7 extra points. And look at this play fake once more from Dalen Cummings.
That late tuck. I'm doing a Shakopee Sabre football game tomorrow. That's exactly how the Sabres want to run that play. Flexbone triple option, baby.
Jalen Hirelinger definitely bit on the play fake, did not keep contained, and Dalen Cummings walked in untouched. And you just see what he means for this football team. I mean, on that drive, 9 carries. I mean, you have the yardage totals, but 9 carries and a touchdown, and that was exactly how they drew it up. How about that drive? 9 minutes and 21 seconds. A 16-play, 70-yard drive.
And just
9
textbook
minutes and
stuff.
21 seconds. Unbelievable.
Beautiful there from Centennial. The lawnmower still sits idle. And before Blaine have even touched the football for an offensive possession, Centennial marched down the field, as Bill, you said, 70 yards, 16 plays, and a lawnmower's already been on the end zone as well too. Yeah,
maybe that young man was unhappy they went to turf instead of grass, and that was his way of expressing it. I don't know. One can only wonder, but it's really on the Bengals. The Bengals now with an opportunity to respond, and they really need to, as a kickoff goes for a touchback.
Yep, nice drive there from Eli Nowoski after the Centennial scored. Drive the Bengal return man into the end zone. Here's a look at the starting lineup. We keyed in on Michael Douglas, Bill, plenty. He is going to have a chance to cross 600 yards on the season. Frank Daniels, terrific junior quarterback who has stepped in for A.J. Call this year. And keeping Blaine very well balanced, they'll have a tall task against the Centennial team.
Yeah, no question. We get to see the potent Blaine offense in Douglas.
Here's a kind of crack toss to Michael Douglas, who's going to shake away past the 20, get out just about to the 25 for a 4 or 5 yard pickup on the first play of scrimmage for the Bengals tonight.
That said, Centennial is very stout against the run. As you see, Frank Daniels' numbers, over 50% completions and nearly 700 yards through the air. But yeah, Centennial shut out to Tino Grace. They held STMA to 6 points. Wyzetta to a couple touchdowns. So
it was a team that was about 50-50 pass and run last year. Here's that RPO the Bengals like to run. Got a man down the field, just overshot Tyler Terry on a potential big play for the Bengals. Oh, what a response that almost was.
Yeah, Daniels showing off his arm there, airing it out down the right sideline, but just overshot Terry, who had a step on his defender.
Daniels got one of the better arms that Mike Law has seen as a high school football coach. Looking on aghast from the sideline, Daniels, first-year starter, and a guy who they said last year as a sophomore was in contention with A.J. Call, possibly to take the starter job. He was the clear QB1 coming into his junior season. Here he is, slinging it near sideline, leaping catch. Was he pushed out of bounds by Lee? They will say a completion to Matthew Plankers, who hauls in his 14th catch of the season. Had come in with 168 through the air this year.
Nice pitch and catch there. He kind of sidearmed it, and you look at him, he's a big kid, 6'4". He's kind of got that prototypical QB size. Definitely a kid who looks like he could play at the next level, and a nice completion of 8 into the sideline.
So here come the Bengals once again. Spread offensive look per usual. That's Douglas, the lone back. Terry, they fake the jet sweep to him, go to Douglas. He doesn't have a lot of running room as he's swallowed up at the middle by Timmy Ball, one of the leading middle linebackers in that teeth of the Centennial defense.
Watch how he drops down his arm slot to kind of side sling it out there. Ooh, that was juggling. They might not have called possession, but they gave it to him.
I thought Lee might have pushed him out. Yeah, really nice defensive play regardless. Didn't quite pan out. A couple of claps from Daniels. He's got Douglas offset from him once again. Plankers is the lone receiver in the bottom of your screen. Trips formation up top here for Centennial. Tyler Terry, the big target, number 7 up there. Here he drops back. He's trying to shoot it down the sideline. Finds his man, Terry, who is tackled from behind by Will Quick after crossing the 30.
That was a tremendous pitch and catch of 50 or 40 yards down to the 28. Now they're in a hurry-up mode.
44-yard catch for Terry here. Wheeling out is Daniels. Pursuit by a couple of the Cougars. Oh, the ankle tackle missed, and he was able to scoot out to the 20. Frank Daniels showing some elusiveness, busting it out for a run. It's talking with Mike Law this week. Not something they want to see Daniels do a ton, scramble and run, but he is effective when he picks his spots to do it. Along with the big arm we've seen tonight, they'll go a little bubble screen pass out to Terry far side, and it was sniffed out by Will Quick, talented corner who just on the play before got beat on the big home run swing to Terry.
Well, that play action holds the linebackers, and then Terry with his speed gets ahead of Will Quick, the ironically named Will Quick, who is very quick in his own right, but Terry got a step and hung on despite Quick's best efforts.
44-yard catch, that big play, setting things up nicely for the Bengals now on 3rd and 6. Hit as he throws. Daniels is going to flutter it far away from his intended target, Zach Schusted, one of the couple of tight ends that are in the mix in the receiving game for the Bengals.
Absolutely drilled on the play by Reese Littlefield. 72 tackles coming in, and Littlefield was in the kitchen of Frank Douglas as they go for it here on 4th down.
On a 4th down and 6. Again with Douglas, the lone back, offset from Frank Daniels. 2 receivers up top, including Terry. That is Plankers on the right side of the field. Motion out by one of the tight ends, Schusted now. And then Douglas is going to run out there as well, too. Daniels had a thought about going to Douglas, tries to pitch it, I believe, looking for Terry again on a quick turn and screen, and the 4th down and 6 falls flat for the Bengals.
Cougars defense bends, but they don't break, and that play nifty in its creation, but just seemed to take a little bit of time to get going. And by the time it developed, it was a little slow developing, and by the time the throw was high, Terry was in the grasp of a Cougars defender, and Centennial takes over. 1st and 10 with the ball at their own 24.
So turnover on downs, flipping things here for the Cougars, who marched down the field 16 plays, 70 yards, capped by a 2-yard touchdown run from Dalen Cummings that has him on top. He will tuck it out to Will Quick, who is well pursued by the Bengals. He was dragged down first on that great defense for Blaine by number 78, Connor Bearcoller, one of the defensive tackles. And this is going to be a loss on the play as we take a timeout with Centennial up 7-0 here at the end of the 1st quarter.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
But I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Back on here at Blaine High School, Bengal Stadium, where the Cougars have come out and made a statement, taking a 7-0 lead on a drive that felt like, Bill, it was going to take up the entirety of that 1st quarter. They flip the field, get a stop on a 4th down and 6, and so the Cougars have the football back to start the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, pretty amazing, the tale of 2 drives. The Centennial first drive, 9 minutes and 21 seconds. And meanwhile, for Blaine, theirs went about 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and they gave the ball back to Centennial before the end of the 1st quarter. So now the Cougars after losing yardage on first down, face a second and long.
Just a loss of 1 here, so 11 away the line to gain here from the 23. Cummings flipping it to pass. He finds Ty Burgoon down on the left-hand side, and Burgoon tripped up just outside the 30 on a terrific leaping stop from Jalen Hurlinger to break off a huge completion there.
What an amazing job. He just noticed that Burgoon was all by himself on the left side and no one was covering him. That wasn't the original play, but Cummings identified that Josh Lee, in fact, was the one who was wide open, and he just pitched it to him, and Lee did the rest.
A 42-yard catch for Ty Burgoon. Here is it's a wheel out by Cummings, and he'll sling it, completing it to Jake Soroka, the tight end, who makes his first catch of the season. A big play for Centennial. A little improvisation from Dalen Cummings, as you said, Bill, just breaking the play to find the open man and then slinging it into double coverage to find his tight end Soroka. Nicely done. 11-yard catch by Soroka following the 40-plus yarder. Here's a handoff by Will Quick, who just does not go down easy. Took a couple of licks before he was finally dragged down by the Bengal mass. Advances up from the 20 to about the 15 for a gain of 7 for Quick.
Yeah, I believe Quick had the first rush of the series as well. But after not passing it, after running it 16 times on that first drive, they get 2 passes for 57 yards by my count, just in 2 pass plays. And now they've got it down inside the red zone.
Cummings back under center. He's got Hill behind him. Burgoon and Nielsen split out as the wingbacks for Centennial. Snap to Cummings. He keeps it himself after faking the handoff to Nielsen. End around to the right, trying to find that pylon, and he's pushed out about 5 yards short. In hot pursuit for the Bengals was number 33, Rylan Dickinson.
But it's enough to pick up a first down, and again, he is just in complete control of this offense right now, as I got him for 7 on that one, down to the 5.
First and goal here for Centennial. He has had 3 first down carries himself, 10 touts for 48 yards for the junior QB. Here's Cummings keeping it again, tries to slip away from one tackler, and he was dragged in down from behind by Kingston Davies, one of the backup corners for the Bengals.
Watch Cummings here on this play. The play fake, again, he pulls it out. He draws the defensive end down, coming crashing down, and then Cummings using the stiff arm to duck his shoulder and get out of bounds after a nice gain of 7.
Pickup will make it second down and goal from the 1 now for Centennial. Cummings awaiting the snap. A little bit of pre-snap motion. Cummings tucks, goes to the right, keeps and glides in. A 1-yard touchdown run for Cummings, his second of the night.
They are using the aggressiveness of this Blaine Bengals front 7 against them. All the defensive ends are crashing down, and Cummings only needs you to do that for half a second, and then he can run right by you. He can get that edge, that corner, and that's what he's done. His first touchdown run, or his second one, a carbon copy of his first. Not as pretty with the play fake, but just as effective.
And Centennial, who methodically marched down the field the first time around, 16 plays, 70 yards. That took just 6 to go north of 70. And an extra point from Eli Nowaski away from going up 14-0 here in the Bengals. Nowaski's kick is true, and Centennial up by 2 scores.
I got to be honest, I did not see this coming. We knew it was going to be a good game. We knew Centennial had a really good team, but they have not been able to score as of late. Their offense has sputtered a little bit, but Dalen Cummings, they're looking like a well-oiled machine here tonight as he fakes it to Hill and then has some says goodbye to the defensive end on that side. he just kind of walked away from him, and he knows once he's got that edge that he's not going to get caught, especially from a yard out.
Yeah, usually the 2-yard/1 yard touchdown runs are not some of the prettiest looking highlights, but it has been 2 perfectly executed rushes where Dalen Cummings has walked it into the end zone as we see him getting one of his fingers maybe taped up on the sideline over there. He's taken a little bit of a beating, but not for the pair of Scamper and Scores on some great execution on the option from the Cougars.
Yeah, and that was a relatively fast drive at 7 plays with 2 passing plays going for 57 yards. But yeah, 7 plays for 76 yards in 2 minutes and 24 seconds. So all Centennial right now, and the crowd here feels a little bit stunned.
Plankers and Johnson, the 2 men deep, as Nowaski gets set to kick this one away once again for the Cougars. Up 14-0. This is Jack Johnson returning it inside the 5, cutting it up the middle. Johnson was 1 tackle away from busting free, and he will get it out past the 40, nearly into Centennial territory. What a pickup from Jack Johnson.
You know, we spotlighted him, Matt, in the pregame for his defensive versatility, but right here, catches it at the 1 and a big old return of 42 yards, although it's coming back because of a flag. Oh, killer penalty for the Bengals.
Coming back here for Blaine, who they've had a couple of moments, Bill, where it felt like a spark back their way. Remember, Daniels missed nearly a big home run on the 2nd play of their opening drive to Terry, and then that could have been a similarly momentum swinging play here in the return from Johnson.
And I don't know that Blaine has come out flat. It's just that Centennial has been ultra sharp tonight.
Drive starts at the 15. They will go. Nice little hurdle. Oh, and the ball comes loose. Oh, it looks like the Bengals came back on top of it to recover. Great heads-up play by Brady Kernow, the center, to fall on top of that one. It just squirted out of the hands of the junior Michael Douglas.
It was a nice run, but yeah, heads-up play by Kernow to fall on it.
2nd-year starter on the offensive line for the Bengals. Handling the snaps here as he gets it back to Frank Daniels. He wants to run, and he is pursued and wrapped up by one of those terrific middle linebackers, Reese Littlefield. It was a gain of 5 on kind of that scramble by Douglas before the fumble recovery. And just a pickup of 2 there on that last rush.
Littlefield led this team in tackles in the Centennial backfield last year, and is doing it again this year, nearing 80 stops on the season.
3rd down and 3 here with Daniels out of the shotgun. Douglas will switch from left to right. Running back just adjacent to him. He'll hand it off to Douglas, and that's exploded in the backfield. Melvin Wallace, the 6', 180-pound junior, breezed right through the Bengal offensive line to squash that one before it got started.
He is not the biggest nose tackle you've ever seen, Matt, but he is so quick, and he's a playmaker. 3 sacks and 3 tackles for loss make that 4 now, as he just blew that play up in the backfield.
Going to be a loss for Douglas, and now a punt here coming up as Zach Schusted is the one out there to flick it away for the Bengals, who twice now have had, well, once a big play called back because of a flag, another time a big play taken back on just a little bit of an overthrown ball. And this one will be fielded by Will Quick just outside the midfield line, and he will get it up to about the 48, still in Cougar territory where the Centennial drive will start. And now really good field position for the Cougars with 7.5 minutes left and already up a pair of scores.
Yeah, this is a real opportunity for the Centennial offense. They take over right outside the Bengals side of the field with a 2-touchdown lead and an opportunity. They got 7.5 minutes left on this clock before halftime, and if they can grind out another long methodical drive and punch it in the end zone, take a 3-touchdown lead, that's going to be tough for the Bengals to come back on.
Owen Hackett lines up the snap here for quarterback Dalen Cummings. Handles it, tucks it to Burgoon. Tries to slant out left. Good push on the defensive line from the Bengals. Connor Bearcoller couldn't wrap up and finish the tackle, but he had some nice force up there at the line.
Bearcoller is a terrific name for a defensive lineman, first of all. And second of all, it really does seem like the best offense tonight has been Dalen Cummings, right? I mean, Hill's gotten it a little bit. Nielsen's had some positive things happen, but it's really been just Cummings through the air when he needs to, and then on the ground, and that's been the most effective offense for Centennial.
Trying to mix it up there with the first carry for Burgoon, who plays a little wide receiver, and it looks like he's lined up in that spot now. Drop back here by Cummings, looking for Burgoon. He'll tuck and run it himself. He is dragged down from behind after picking up about 2 or 3 on the scramble. Good pressure from that Bengal defensive front once again.
Very wise decision from Cummings. He looked down the field. He saw that he didn't have his man open, and he was getting pressure in the backfield from this Bengals front seven, which, as we said, has been really good this year with some blowout wins. And so it's a smart decision of him to at least just take what he could.
Huge 3rd down and 8. Bengals need a stop here to force a 3 and out and get some momentum going back their way. Cummings will wheel out to pass. Once again, pressure on him. Leaping throw. He's able to doink it off. It's still going to come up short. With the Bengals in pursuit, he was able to find his wingback Jaden Hill for a pickup of about 8, but well short of the line.
That's some Patrick Mahomes stuff right there, Matt, as Jaden Grant, the defensive lineman from Blaine, was putting all sorts of pressure on him, but he was able to just get up, get the pass away, and make something out of nothing. And now it sets up a manageable 4th down as we see the replay right here.
Yep, good scramble, pressure down on him. It was Jaden Grant, the senior, who nearly had the QB wrapped up, and just doing anything he can to keep this going. 4th down and 2. Centennial trying to go for the body blow and go for it. Push up at the line. Looks like they've got the 1st down by plenty. Keeping it once again with their go-to man, QB Dalen Cummings, and it's a pickup of 3 and a 1st down once again for Centennial.
It's their second 4th down pickup of the half, and it's been that push from Cummings. And credit to the offensive line, because that's not, I mean, that's Cummings following his blockers, but they're just getting some serious push up front, and that's allowed him to get 3 and 4 yards on 4th down.
Cummings will get back under center. Lined up behind him is Hill. Got Burgoon and Nielsen as the wingbacks, but looks like a timeout being taken from the Centennial end. And Mike Diggins wants to talk things over for the Cougars.
Yeah, and a good use of a timeout. You still have 2 remaining inside of 5 minutes here to go before half, and it's an important series. You want to make sure that your guys are all lined up and everything, because at a minimum you want to grind the clock down and get a field goal from Eli Nowaski. If not, you'd love to get a touchdown. And you would love to just continue to keep this ball away from Blaine and continue to try to impose your will on this football game. And that's really what the Cougars have done here in the 1st half.
Wearing the headset for Centennial is offensive coordinator Travis Littlefield. He is in his 6th season working alongside Mike Diggins in that role. Blaine Bengals defensively are charged by A.J. Van Voris, who's the D coordinator for the Bengals. And he's had a lot to handle with here from this Centennial offense. 1st down and 10 after the QB sneak by Cummings. He will keep it on the option play out to the right. Shakes off one tackler. 2nd push from the Bengal defense as he's charged down by Henry Morris, who was leading the gang tackle for the Bengals. Leading tackler, number 25, a senior middle linebacker this year. Pickup of 5 by Cummings, however, and it's going to set up a 2nd and 5.
Yeah, Morris has been pretty impressive. What do you have for numbers now for Cummings?
14 carries, 62 yards for number 8.
And a couple touchdowns. He is really being an effective maestro. Even that was picked up 5 yards, but Henry Morris, they're going to need him on the Blaine Bengals defense to get in the game.
Motion from Burgoon. He will tuck it to number 13, and Burgoon able to slant forward, get up about a yard shy of the first down after a pickup of 4 on his second carry this evening. 3rd down and 1, just like the Cougars drew it up. They'll take that 4 yards thereabouts every play so far.
Yeah, and they don't mind if they don't pick it up on 1st or 2nd down, because that just allows more plays, and we'll have the numbers for you, the exact numbers for you at half in terms of plays, the number of plays, but by my count, Blaine has run 11 plays, and Centennial in their first drive alone ran 16. So that just goes to show you time of possession and how much Centennial has controlled things here in this first half.
Centennial.
3rd drive of the night for the Cougars. They will use their 2nd here of the half, as Mike Diggins will take a break once more here for the Cougars.
Yeah, how about this stat? So this is coming up on the Centennial's 37th play of the half. And like we said, Blaine has run, at least by my count, 11. So the plays have been 37 to 11 by my count for Centennial tonight. And yeah, that just kind of tells you the tale of this game. And Centennial has been able to take advantage, overcoming a couple penalties. Neither team has really turned the ball over. So ball security has been good from both teams, but Centennial has just out-executed the Bengals to this point.
And they are on the verge with plenty of time left here till halftime to pick up their 3rd touchdown of the night. 3rd and 1, very manageable here for what's become a potent rushing attack. Handoff to Hill, picked up the line to gain, and was with forward progress going to move the sticks here for the Cougars.
Yeah, and you look at the biggest rushing play so far was a 13-yard rush for Dalen Cummings. In terms of, that's the longest rush they've had, but it's just been methodical. 4, 5, 8, 7. I mean, they have just chipped and chipped and chipped away and done just enough to move the chains.
A couple of big pass plays to mix in there as well too, but otherwise it has been just that. This is Burgoon out on the end around for Centennial, able to cut up the field, getting by Johnson. Flag thrown late after the illegal hit.
Yeah, that's a not a smart play right there, as Jalen Heierlinger maybe a little frustrated with how things are going tonight, and I think he's going to get hit with a personal foul. Late hit out of bounds after Burgoon's stiff arm got him to the corner.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, defense, number 8. Penalty is half distance to the goal from the end of the run. 1st down.
So ends up being a run right around to the 1st down marker. So 10-yard gain for Burgoon, and then on top of that, the penalty. And this costly mistake here for the Bengals, already staring down a 14-0 deficit. 1st and goal from the 7 here coming up. First penalty going against Blaine tonight. Handing it off was Cummings. Getting it this time to Hill for the 4th time tonight.
Yeah, it only ended up being a 7-yard penalty ultimately, so not a huge penalty, but it did set Centennial up with 1st and goal. And the last thing you need is to see the Cougars punch one in right before half. All the momentum already on the side of the red and white.
Don't like seeing a penalty number that doesn't end in a 5 in the box score, so that's going to throw me off for the rest of the night. Just personally. 2nd down and goal here from the 4 for the Cougars. They will keep it with Cummings gliding in untouched for the 3rd time tonight.
Absolute domination here tonight for Centennial, and it's orchestrated by that man right there, number 8, Dalen Cummings, the junior quarterback, who is nearing 100 yards on the ground in the first half and 3 scores. Just a talismanic performance, to use a soccer term.
66 yards, all 3 touchdowns, as we said. Eli Nowaski is out to try to make it 21-0 Cougars. Will do just that, and it's 21-zip Centennial It has been a rivalry that has been played for a long time. It is one that has been very, very competitive the last handful of years as we get another look at, once again, QB keeper fake. Nice block on the edge as well, too, by Burgoon to open things up for his QB.
Yeah, I want to give credit, Matt, certainly to this offensive line as well, because the push they're getting, the fact that they're able to block down on these Blaine Bengals defensive linemen allows Cummings to get that edge so easily. And he's been relatively untouched tonight, and his coaches are absolutely loving the performance that they've gotten in this first half from that guy right there.
And you mentioned the offensive line, too. It's a group that, when you looked at the starting offensive line from the playoff game that ended the season last year for Centennial, just one guy coming back from that team, Cole Eriksrud, the right tackle. So they've gotten a lot of new faces into the fold up front for Centennial, and no problem for Dalen Cummings and company, who are out to a 21-0 lead on possibly their biggest rival here in a big one on North Metro TV tonight.
And that was a 10-play, 51-yard drive in 5 minutes and 36 seconds, culminated by what else? A Dalen Cummings rushing touchdown.
Eli Nowaski got some really solid lettuce hanging out the back.
He does. That's hockey hair right there.
He's coming up here once again to kick it away for the Cougars. He's been active tonight, and he'll boot it away once again after a third straight Centennial touchdown. They've done it on each of their first 3 possessions here tonight, as that'll be returned out to right about the 20 by Plankers, one of the wide receivers who mixes in the return game for the Bengals. And 2-minute drill time for Mike Law, who calls the plays for the Bengals. They have got to get something here, Bill, before halftime.
Yeah, they certainly need to, and looks like a new quarterback in there, so that's interesting as well. Or at least Terry may be running the Wildcat. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's Terry. It will go to Terry once again. He's looking to pass. He's going to sling it near side. Oh, nearly picked off. It was right into the hands almost of Lance Nielsen Jr. for Centennial.
Yeah, it's I was surprised. I thought Terry was going to maybe run a direct draw out of that or something. But if anything's happened to Frank Douglas, that obviously, or Frank Daniels, excuse me, that's obviously a problem for Blaine.
So once again, Terry lining up at quarterback. Douglas just offset behind him. You got the 2 tight ends, Schusted and Torgerson, split out on the left-hand side, bottom of your screen. Here is Terry looking, a slant inside, and you see that hot pursuit once again from the Centennial defense. Leading the charge this time was Tyler Case, the defensive end.
Yeah, Case is just one of those kids that is just, along with Melvin Wallace and others, just all over the place this year, and has been impactful from day one. As Centennial's thinking, Centennial's anticipating getting the ball back, because if they figure if they can get a stop here, force a 3 and out and a punt, they can get the ball back. They're looking to add more. They're looking to really put this one away, as Blaine turned it over on downs on their first possession, 3 and out on their last possession, and they're in danger of going 3 and out once more.
And right now, one of the things you worry about with Blaine, they have that terrific junior running back we talked about, Bill. Tyler Terry playing quarterback, you'd have to think out of necessity, right? I mean, yeah. Terry is their biggest big play option in the passing game. You don't want to take that element of your offense away, but right now he's the man at quarterback for the Bengals.
Yeah, you have to imagine something's going on in which Terry, they just want to get the ball in the hands of one of their best athletes, but if Daniels was okay, he'd be in there.
So here it's back to Terry. He'll hand it off to Douglas up the middle. And he's going to be swallowed up by the teeth of that Centennial defense. Timmy Ball was there. He has had 13 or more tackles, the middle linebacker, in 3 straight games for Centennial, including 15 in the loss at Maple Grove.
I mean, to make an obvious joke, he is around the ball all the time. Literally, and he's just everywhere for the Centennial team. And that 3 and out will indeed force Zach Schusted to come on. Obviously, the Bengals willing to take a delay of game, try to get this clock down as far as possible. But two consecutive 3 and outs for Blaine here in this second quarter. And I'm not sure things could have gone much better for Centennial or much worse for Blaine here in this first half.
Well, you think about this, Bill. Going into the matchup, we were just pumping so much how good the Centennial defense has been. That's been the case. To be quite frank, the Cougar offense was a huge question mark the last few weeks as they adjusted from the loss of Maverick Harper. So you think about the ceiling for this team now, if they can even produce 80% of what they're doing tonight on a consistent basis, that sounds like a team with an opportunity to make a run at a state tournament this year.
Oh yeah, no question about it. And you know, what do you need when to win late, right? If you can run the ball, if you can stop the run and keep games close, and you have a good field goal kicker, that's really a recipe for success to win those kind of close games, whether it's 13-10 or whatever it may be.
That's Michael K. Diggins, the son of the head coach and defensive coordinator for the Cougars, firing up his unit, who have been so terrific this year. They give up less than 15 points per game, which is one of the top 6 marks in 6A football this year. Punting team on the field here for the Bengals, as this will be struck away by Schusted. Takes a couple of good Bengal bounces before it dies at the 30, and it's picked up by Jalen Herlinger to stop it here for the Bengals.
Schusted, one of the biggest punters in the state at 6'7", also a basketball player for this Bengals team, and he's got a big old leg, and he is able to pin the Cougars back at their own 30-yard line with just 40 seconds left. You have to imagine that they will more than likely take a knee or run a couple plays and see what happens. But yeah, they're going to take this 21-0 lead into halftime and feel real good about it.
Come out with their usual offensive set look. They will hand it off and run a play here to Hill up the middle, but bleed out that clock here. As Bill said, less than 40 seconds to go. Hill's going to pick up 3 in the rush.
Centennial starting its 4th drive of the night, the first 3 ending with Dalen Cummings rushing touchdowns. Each of them have been at least 7 plays, and 2 of them have been 16 and 10.
Snap back from Hackett to Cummings. He's going to look down the field to try to get a pass off, and he will eat the sack, maybe smartly. It was Gavin Ecker who was initially in on him. Connor Bearcoller, the one who swallows him up to take us to halftime here at Blaine High School. It was all Centennial for the most part in this half. Cougars in a matchup with their crosstown rivals, up 21-0 in a border battle here on North Metro TV. $21-0 Centennial here at the halftime break. It was just an impressive display of option football here, Bill, in the first half by the Cougars, who dominated scoring in each of their first 3 offensive possessions tonight.
Yeah, so far it's been the Dalen Cummings show, using play action really effectively to play fake. This was a strange moment of potential protest, we're not sure, but then you know, Tyler Terry did catch a long one. Blaine got down there, but drive stalled out, and then Dalen Cummings continuing to run the show on the ground. 16 carries, 69 yards, and 3 scores in that first half, and the pink-clad Centennial students absolutely loving it. Great blocking up front for Cummings, who walks in untouched for his 3rd score of the night. And really, it's the Centennial offense, like you said, Matt, that has been really impressive tonight.
We expected the defense to come to play. The offense did the same to match it, and it is all Cougars right now here over the Bengals. We're back here in the campus of Blaine High School. I was just saying this to the truck. I'll say it on the broadcast too. It's alarming how much tape you can cut through if you just wear an orange vest and look friendly, Bill. Pro tip. It's also alarming how easily you can jump out on the Blaine Bengals when you were running an offense like the Cougars were in the first half. Dalen Cummings with all 3 scores, number 8. Was the big man on campus in the first half for the Cougars.
He was unbelievable, doing it on the ground, through the air. I mean, 16 carries, 69 yards, and 3 scores, executing play fakes, just knowing when to keep it, when to give it up, and even springing a couple passes, including that big one when he just noticed that, hey, no one's guarding Josh Lee. I'm going to find him, and then another big completion on a 3rd down to get it down to the 3, and so just big play, well-executed play after well-executed play for the Centennial offense in the first half. They turned the ball over. They barely, had a foot wrong. I mean, a couple penalties that they had to overcome on that opening drive, but other than that, Blaine, meanwhile, they're going to be without, their starting quarterback, Frank Daniels, in the second half. It appears it'll be Tyler Terry under center for the Bengals. They'll get the football to receive to start the second half, but very different offense without their talented junior slinging it around.
It was Centennial running 34 plays by our count in the first half. Blaine had just 14. Centennial ran 16 on the opening drive of the game, and they marched down the field 70 yards and capped it off with a 2-yard touchdown run for Cummings, who, as we said, finished with all 3. There's the orange vest we're talking about. Just look like a professional, and then gotta love this too. Blaine coach coming over, he knew it was going down, and he just yanked the lawnmower away. Said, take this guy out of here. Get him out of my sight.
Get him and his lawnmower out. And the security none the wiser. Yeah, you look real official with an orange vest on. So
the friendly smile is key too.
Yeah,
he was probably sweet talking some.
You
of
just
the
have to act like you belong there. Yeah, no doubt about it. So, but yeah, obviously not the way that in Blaine envisioned this game going.
The lawnmower? Oh, well. Oh, sorry.
The lawnmower, the lawnmower, the funniest and best highlight of the game for Blaine so far. And honestly, maybe the Bengals just feed Michael Douglas a lot more, give him more carries. He had a few in the first half, but really wasn't featured all that much. And at Centennial defense, as advertised, pitching a shutout so far.
So Mike Law looks on again, as we mentioned. His Bengal team will get the ball here to open up the second half, hoping it is a Bengal full moon from that Blaine side of the field anyway.
How spooky is that in October? Wow.
Yeah, we need that for the October 31st broadcast. Hey, we had the harvest moon at Spring Lake Park a few weeks back. Remember that? That was incredible.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
And just kind of tucks behind the clouds very auspiciously.
And, of course, captured perfectly by our terrific crew here at North Metro TV. Throw an orange vest on that moon. Now you've got a Halloween moon.
21-0 Cougars. They scored on each of their first 3 offensive drives. 128 on the ground, 90 through the air. Blaine had 56 total yards. As we mentioned, the disparity in time of possession, 34 plays against 14. It is Nowaski to kick it off with the Bengals fielding this kick here and returning to open up the second half. Jack Johnson is ripped down just after crossing the 10. Nice special teams tackle from Matt Eckhart. You like to get the special teams guys some love in there too.
Yeah, no question about it. And Johnson, he had that big return out to the 46 that got brought back, and now he fumbles it, doesn't even reach the 15. So It just keeps going from bad to worse for Blaine tonight.
As we said, injury at quarterback in that first half. This is Tyler Terry handing it off to Douglas, who is swallowed up the middle after a pickup of 1 or 2 here, and it'll be second down and long coming up. Douglas bottled up. He had come into this matchup 3 straight weeks of 100 or more yards rushing. He gets just 1 there. He had 8 yards on 5 carries in the first half. This Centennial defense about as good as it gets in the Metro in stopping the run. They give up less than 90 per game. Here is a keeper by Terry, and he is pursued in the flat by Timmy Ball, who was one of those great middle linebackers who were given some love in the first half for the Cougars.
Yeah, their linebackers especially just racking up the tackle totals as that gains just 2. And they're trying to hurry it up a little bit. Without the threat of the pass, they become one-dimensional, and it's really just allows Centennial to flow to the football.
Pick up a 2 by Terry, 3rd down and 7 as he'll float it down the field, and it's picked off clean. I think Will Quick, the one who came up with the ball for Centennial, as number 3 with his 3rd interception of the season for the Cougars.
Yeah, I mean, Terry, you know, he had a man out there, but Quick just undercut the route, reached up, and managed to rip the ball away. They kind of both caught it, you know, simultaneously, but you just see it floated up there, and Quick just jumped it. He was looking for his intended receiver, Zach Schusted, but it was a little underthrown, and Quick read it well, and that young man's got his 3rd pick of the season, which leads the Cougars.
Schusted's a matchup problem. 6'6", 5'9" Will Quick stepping in on the underthrown ball with the takeaway. So here come the Cougars handing it off to Ty Burgoon, who slants out to the left and is stopped up after a gain of about 6 or 7 here for Centennial.
And obviously that turnover gives Centennial terrific starting field position as you see Ty Burgoon shaken up on the play.
That was a gain of 5 for Burgoon. He had 3 carries for 14 yards in the first half. Cummings doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the ground game for the Cougars. Mike Diggins, his head coach, out to check in with his player Burgoon, who is a versatile piece in this offense, a 6 foot, 170-pound junior who played a lot more wide receiver to start the year, but the way that the Cougars have had to reshape the offense without Maverick Harper, his glaring absence since week 2, Burgoon's an important piece of what the Cougars are doing. They're thin at running back right now.
Yeah, and you wonder if it's just a cramp or what it might be, but it's not a particularly warm night tonight, obviously. So Burgoon's still down, being attended to, and yeah, he is a versatile weapon. They love those kind of Lance Nielsen Jr. types, the jack of all trades. They can take the jet sweep and make something happen. As he was hit hard on the play there by Leif Nielsen, which is the most Minnesota name I've ever heard. Also perfect for fall.
It is a drive here for Centennial, coming up with the football after Will Quick's 3rd interception of the season for Centennial, and the Cougars in the early proceedings of this 3rd quarter. Now for Blaine in danger of going down 28-0 as we take a look at the standings in that gauntlet Metro Gold Division North. We've got Maple Grove, who, I mean, might go undefeated the rest of the year the way they're rolling right now. 5-0 overall, including 4-0 against gold competition. Centennial, though, right behind them, Bill, with that 3-1 record in league play so far in the standings.
Yeah, it's a big game for the Cougars, and they've got some tough ones coming up, including against Woodbury to finish the season at Woodbury. So it's an important game for them to win on the road.
Snap back to Cummings, who will wheel out 2 pass, floats it down the near sideline, finding Lance Nielsen Jr., who is steered out of bounds at the 5. A 28-yard catch and run for Lance Nielsen Jr., who had the big game, as we said, last year against the Bengals.
Boy, they're just using the pass so effectively tonight, Matt, that on that play, a little wheel route, Nielsen Jr. down the sideline. He was wide open, and the nice touch on the pass here from Dalen Cummings, who rolls out, and watch him just drop it in the bucket over the defenders, Nielsen taps the toes and goes out of bounds. It's another 1st and goal for Centennial.
Tiptoed out at the 7. And this will be a run up the middle here for Centennial. So call it a 24-yard gain for Nielsen on that big catch that he just made. It's a gain of 3 on this most recent run from Dylan Carver, the senior, who has had to step up with some of the injuries lately in that backfield for Centennial.
What I like about the Cougars too, Matt, is that they're continuing to attack. They may be up 3 scores, but they are continuing to sprinkle in the pass and continuing to keep the foot on the gas pedal.
2nd down and goal from the 4 here for Centennial. We're packed in tight. Handoff. It is Cummings keeping it. Faked it to Carver. He gets kind of thrown into the end zone for his 4th touchdown of the night. My goodness.
I mean, he's got 17 carries for 4 touchdowns tonight. Over 70 yards now, and he is just continuing to make it happen right around the goal line for Centennial.
Cummings came in tonight with 3 touchdowns on 44 carries this season. It missed some time with injury, as we said, going down in an injury he sustained in week 2, just returning in these last couple of weeks. Nowaski will miss wide right here, and it's going to be 27-0 Cougars after Cummings' 4th touchdown of the night.
First missed extra point of the year for Eli Nowaski, who to that point had been 9 for 9. But a little bit academic at this point, as we're early in the 3rd quarter, and the route is officially on here at Bengal Stadium. Relatively short drive, that one. 4 plays and 30 yards. And it ended in a predictable way with another touchdown run from star quarterback Dalen Cummings.
Centennial, who beat Blaine last year 26-14 in their house. It has been a very even series. 3-3 are both teams in the last 6. Neither team, we talked about at the beginning of the pregame, has won back-to-back meetings against each other since Blaine took 2 in a row from 2015 and then again in 2016. Centennial are up 27-0 right now here with a kickoff coming from Eli Nowaski, and the Bengals about to get the ball back after sputtering out and finishing with an interception in their first drive here to open the 2nd half. And that was the first turnover of the game from either team, that pick that the backup QB Terry threw. Here's this one's fielded by Plankers. He'll roll off one tackler, getting him out to the 30 as he was stuck in by the kicker Eli Nowaski. And this will start out the drive for Blaine here.
Yeah, the Blaine offense has really stuttered.
Holding. Return team number 8. Penalties half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
2nd penalty of the game on Jalen Heyerlinger, as 2nd time that Blaine has been called for a hold on a kickoff return. And once again, look at this, they start inside their own 10 at the 9, but Bengals have not picked up a 1st down, Matt, since the 38-yard pass play to Tyler Terry to get him down to the 30-yard line of Centennial on their 1st drive, the 5th play of their drive. In that 1st drive in the 1st quarter, they have gone 3 and out, and an interception since then.
Turned it over on downs in that opening drive of the night is Terry. Again, still in at quarterback here to start the 2nd half with the apparent injury to Frank Daniels. He'll rush it out for 6 that time, which in the running game constitutes as the biggest gain that the Bengals have had tonight. 2 carries for 8 yards now for Terry after that pickup of 6.
And their starting field positions, the 15, the 21, the 14, and now the 9.
Motion of both tight ends, Schusted and Torgerson. As it snapped back to Terry, he'll run, but there's a flag down on the field after he picked up for the moment. 2nd 1st down for the Bengals.
Illegal shift. Offense. 2 players are in the motion. Snap. Penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot. 2nd down.
Well, they've had 4 penalties tonight. One was the late hit out of bounds. 2 of them have been holds on kickoff returns, and now this 4th one, the illegal shift, marches them back to their own 10.
2nd down and 9. Snap back to Terry out of the shotgun. Wheeling right, tucking, running. Terry is going to grind forward for a gain of about 4 or 5, and it'll be 3rd down and medium here coming up for Blaine.
And this is what I was saying earlier, Matt, is it's very predictable now because you figure it's going to be Terry, basically Terry running out of the Wildcat or a Michael Douglas carry. And Centennial can just kind of sit on that, and its defensive backs can see if it can intercept some passes.
And they're plenty good at stopping the run, even if they're not sure it's coming. And then all over it, as you see right there, a swarm of Centennial tacklers bringing down Terry, including number 91, Joe Westerham, who's wearing that club for a 2nd straight week, wrapped up his right arm.
Timmy Ball in there, Marcus Whiting. But yeah, they get a host of Cougars. There's the club. And not the auto theft prevention device.
I'm sure he doesn't love it, but I'm glad he's wearing the club. I can very easily identify Joe Wester.
I mean, you look like a tough guy. There's no doubt about it. And once again, Centennial is going to get terrific field position.
Schusted punting and didn't get all of it. This is going to be down just outside the 40, still in Bengal territory here for Centennial to have terrific starting field position, but a flag down.
Roughing the kicker, maybe?
Yep. Roughing the kicker is the call. Mike not working down there.
So it looks like Blaine's offense will continue to operate after all. And that's such a tough one, Matt, because sometimes it can be running into the kicker, sometimes it can be roughing, and there is that distinction. And they were coming for this block. And I think
how do you rough this kicker? No, that looks like roughing. it's hard to sell it. It's hard to sell it on Schusted, who's such a big guy, but yeah, that's it.
Well, he's got a lot of leg to run into, so.
Lance Nielsen Jr., the one flagged for the infraction for Centennial, so automatic 1st down here. And we got another flag flying here down at Bengal Stadium.
False start. Offense, number 28. 5-yard, 1st down.
I mean, it's just so apparent how out of sync this Blaine offense looks without Frank Daniels under center. And you feel for Tyler Terry, who's doing his best, but the pieces are just not where they belong.
Yeah, when you hear all the tropes, here's a nice handoff to Douglas, who breaks out into some space. He was tackled by Henry Perner. Gets out nearly to the 1st down marker. It'll be a pickup of double digits on the ground finally here for Blaine.
Yep, they got to get him unlocked.
Douglas rushing it again, but he stopped up at the line for no gain that time. 3 straight 100-yard rushing performances for this guy Douglas the last 3 weeks. He had come in with 564 yards in the ground. We thought it was going to be a sure thing. I mean, even against this vaunted Centennial defense, he'd probably eclipse 600 tonight. That's a little bit in jeopardy right now, as this will be Terry keeping it, sweeping out to the left. He's able to get the edge on the middle linebacker, and then tripped up by Perner and Nielsen after crossing the 40 in the line to gain.
That is a 1st down now for Blaine, so able to move the chains finally, but yeah, just trying to move it any way they can and get their athletes on the edge.
6-yard pickup for Terry. Clock still running here, 3rd quarter, just over 6 minutes left to play. Douglas will take the handoff, and he is stiffed a couple of yards after the line of scrimmage. Good push there from Douglas. He was still churning the legs after he'd been wrapped up by about 2-3 guys to pick up a couple of extra yards and make it 5 moving forward for Blaine.
Old
now
school.
we're starting to see a little bit of the talent there from Douglas.
Yeah, old school Reese Littlefield whacked him helmet-to-helmet collision from that middle linebacker spot.
Terry, they will go to Douglas again, out wide right on the sweep as he bounces it outside. Going to come up short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1 after a pickup from 4.
Well, in Centennial, they're really just concerned with continuing to make Michael Douglas keep falling down.
Douglas, we said in our intro and we highlighted him, junior this year. He was not playing football 2 years ago as a freshman. One of the basketball coaches picked him out at a tryout as Terry is going to lunge forward for a couple of yards, maybe 3, pick up the first down for the Bengals. And Douglas got noticed by a basketball coach. I was talking to Mike Law this week, who said one of the hoops coaches tipped him off, said he just was really impressed by Douglas's athleticism, recommended that some of the football coaching staff go out and try his hand at football. Had some growing pains, of course, last year, jumping right in as a sophomore in JV football last year, but he has turned it into the every down back for the Bengals here. And here's a fake to Douglas. And a little flea flicker, gonna find Douglas running down the right sideline. Beautifully on cue. Michael Douglas getting involved in the passing game. That is his first catch of the year.
Yeah, and the more he can do this kind of thing and show himself to be a threat, and we saw this play run by a couple different high school teams on Randy Schaefer's highlight show last week, where you handed the ball off, flip it to a wide receiver, and then go back to the quarterback as Centennial wants to take a timeout.
That's their first timeout of the half.
And even with a 27-0 lead, they can't be pleased with how easily Blaine is moving the football. A little discombobulated are the Cougars, but if Douglas can show himself to be, can prove himself to be a good pass-catching running back, that makes him much more dangerous, because you can throw those little screens to him, you can throw those little swing passes and get him out in space, and that's where he's really most dangerous.
34-yard catch from Douglas, which is the second biggest play of the day for the Bengals. And yeah, I mean, one of the things that we pointed out here, obviously, Bill, the injury to the starting quarterback, Frank Daniels, such a huge factor for Blaine in their hopes of trying to get back into this game. You hear all the coach speak all the time, right? Oh, our quarterback's one of our leaders. I feel like I kind of get it a little more now, because as you pointed out, Bill, not Tyler Terry's fault. He's a wide receiver trying to step in and keep this offense churning. You just saw the Bengals look discombobulated after their terrific junior leader came out of the game late first half.
Yeah, I mean, he really just gets them organized, gets them set, and things are different when you've got different players at different positions.
Here's Terry, fakes the handoff, keeps it himself. He is dragged down from behind. Several Cougars in on the tandem tackle. Timmy Ball, one of the middle linebackers, was leading the charge. Jaden Lutz helping him up.
Well, and to continue that point, Matt, the thing is, when Tyler Terry is your backup quarterback and your athlete, when you don't have, at the high school level, you don't necessarily have a good backup. So now your best receiver is your quarterback.
Terry, just such a huge big play threat. Absolutely right. Here's it's a run from Douglas up the chute.
So when you lose Daniels to injury, and I don't see Daniels on the sidelines, not sure what happened to him, but presumed injury, not only have you lost your starting quarterback, but you've also lost your best wide receiver, because he's got to be your backup quarterback.
Douglas has now gotten to 30 yards on the night, 34 through the air, and that little flea flicker play the Bengals ran.
And you could see little glimpses of what makes him special. You just wish they could have maybe fed him more in the first half.
There's Terry wheeling out, slings it, trying to leap up for a one-handed grab. Donovan Torgerson, one of the two terrific tight ends that the Bengals have. A junior at 6'4", and then they have Zach Schusted, who we've mostly talked about punting tonight. Number 85 is 6'6". Those are a couple of big targets that the Bengals can get rolling with this year.
Yeah, they're big and physical. They fed those guys last year, and those guys, you know, they're big targets. You got the speedster on the outside with Terry, and then you got the two big targets in the tight end, and you can see why this offense was so dangerous.
Terry's now 1 of 4 passing. He will run it. Ball squirts loose as it was taken out by Will Quick, who lowered the shoulder, forced the fumble. It's recovered by Lance Nielsen Jr.
You love it when the pregame hits pay off, and Lance Nielsen Jr. coming up with a big play. And how about Will Quick, responsible for both the Centennial turnovers tonight, intercepting Tyler Terry initially and then forcing the fumble near the goal line. Another timely turnover forced by the Cougars defense that clearly wants to pitch a shutout.
Centennial really starting to look impressive, especially these last handful of weeks. Will Quick, just a wrap-up, solid tackle. Came out loose, and Lance Nielsen, he wasn't just jumping right on top of the football. He was thinking of taking that one back for a defensive touchdown.
Why not? It bounced right into his arms.
Spun down here on the run was Cummings, keeping it for Centennial. Will Quick forced a fumble. Also has his 3rd interception of the season tonight. Looking on very content from the Centennial sideline with his team up 27-0 on their rivals.
Nice pickup of 6 on 1st down, and again, Centennial would love nothing more than a just grinded out clock chewing drive. This is their worst starting field position, with the ball on their own 15 to start, but they'd be totally fine with an 85-yard touchdown drive if they can put that together. They're not going to be in any hurry as Cummings continues to get instruction from the sideline. Now the Cougars will take a timeout to talk about things.
Timeout, Centennial. That's their 2nd timeout of the half.
So once again, we are Bill Hupp. That's him. I'm Matt Dean. We're here for North Metro TV. Rivalry matchup that is coming to head here at Blaine High School, and injury to Frank Daniels putting a little bit of a damper on things tonight here, Bill. But I mean, Centennial just so dangerous now to see their offense make this jump here. And what basically has been, I mean, you were talking with the head coach Mike Diggins a little bit before the game. It's been somewhat of a kind of reclamation project since they lost that super key player that you were so impressed with when you saw him against Stillwater in week 1, Maverick Harper.
Oh, he was a physical, powerful runner. He really did some damage in week number 1, and you're like, wow, this kid's a junior. He is a tough runner in between the tackles, and you could see why the coaching staff was excited about what they had. But credit to Mike Diggins and his coaching staff. Harper goes down with injury in week 2, done for the season, more than likely. And as Cummings is hopefully okay, but
he's going to hand it off to Ty Burgoon. Oh, stiff arm to spring free past the 1st down marker. Ty Burgoon with his biggest run here of the evening. Pick up about a dozen.
If you remember, Burgoon used a stiff arm down here, and it resulted in a late hit. But he uses that pretty effectively to get to the edge. But the point I was trying to make is credit to, as you see, Burgoon employing the stiff arm here at the right time to get past his defender. But credit to Diggins and his coaching staff for adjusting their offense to fit the personnel they have now and making the most of it.
Cummings with the handoff. He will tuck it into the hands. It looks like number 16, Owen Ringen, getting his first carry of the evening for the Cougars. So they'll get to get some new guys involved here. 4-yard pickup for Ringen, a junior, listed at 5'10", 175.
And as we said, one of those adjustments was going to be Cummings under center more often tonight, because they felt like they could get into their offense. They could get what they wanted going faster with him under center as opposed to out of the pistol formation.
Going with a little bit of a different look here with the 2 wide receivers split out to the right-hand side. Some motion. It will be a keeper by Cummings, and then he pitches out here, finding Lance Nielsen Jr. He's stuffed and driven back by Zach Halverson after a pickup of about a couple on the play there. It will give him 3.
Yeah, it sets up a 3rd and 2, so very manageable. And now is the time with a 27-0 lead, minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Now is the time for Centennial to work on some of those plays that they've used in practice but haven't really trotted out in the game. Give more looks to their future opponents and really practice things like those option pitches out wide and see what works as they continue to try to fine-tune this offense without Maverick Harper.
Cummings now with 82 yards. He has all 4 scores for Centennial tonight. Flag flying. It's a false start going against the Cougars.
And after committing those...
False start. Offense. Not all 11 players were set at the snap. It's 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
By my count, just the 3rd penalty of the night on Centennial after committing the first 2 for 20 yards on their first possession. Offensively, they have not committed one since, and we're nearing the end of the 3rd quarter.
Cummings having the huge game as we were talking about, and he is looking like Cougars might hang back. They'll try to get a playoff here. He's got a pretty good sounding board over on the sideline. We talked a lot about Mike Diggins, the head coach. But that is a really terrific Cougar coaching staff over for this young junior quarterback who's going to wheel out here, survey the field, trying to pass. He'll sling it. A little bit of a bump. I thought a flag was going to be coming down for pass interference. I think it dropped down in front, and the flag did come from that behind back judge.
Well, the flag came for a late hit is what it was. As we see, we'll hopefully get a replay here, but Cummings was absolutely popped as he released that pass, and you see the flag at the 25-yard line.
That's Ryland Dickinson is the one who's going to get flagged for the head.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 25. It's a 50-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
Yeah, it was Morris, we should say, getting flagged for. This was the late hit that came from the back judge.
And he just lowers the helmet, and you just saw it.
I thought Morris kind of could have got called for pass interference as well, too. That's what I was watching.
Oh, yeah, no, I was looking at the quarterback, and I saw roughing the passer all the way and saw the flag come out. Regardless, moves the football up near midfield for Centennial as, well, I guess have one more play in the 3rd quarter. But, yeah, Blaine, obviously a night of frustration here, down by 4 scores.
27-0 Centennial in a game that was 7-0 after the 1st quarter. A drive by the Cougars that nearly took up that entire 1st period. And here's a handoff to Lance Nielsen Jr. He gets swallowed up maybe by a little bit of frustration from that Bengal defense. Jack Schisler, a senior defensive tackle, making the stop. And it will take us to the conclusion of the 3rd quarter. Centennial adding a touchdown, the 4th of the game from their QB, Dalen Cummings, and they're breezing here tonight against their rivals. 27-0 heading into the 4th quarter.
Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers in the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
Welcome back here into Bengal Stadium here in Blaine, Minnesota. 27-0. I think that's the dance that the Cougars were doing on the sideline after coming up with their 2nd takeaway tonight.
Yeah, that's Dalen Cummings dancing into the end zone as he has done all game. 4 rushing touchdowns and just a complete masterful performance under center tonight for Centennial. And that combined with their stout defense that's forced a couple turnovers. And it has been just a dream game for Centennial as they look to pick up their 2nd consecutive win.
Motion from the tight end, Soroka, here with still Dalen Cummings, junior captain, starting quarterback for Centennial, the 4 touchdowns tonight. He will hand off the rock here to his back, Carver, who falls forward here past the midfield line for the Cougs. Pickup of 4.
At what point, Matt, do you take Cummings out and just to put him in bubble wrap? And
Got to be chasing history at some point tonight. Keep him in.
That's true. Yeah, maybe get a 5th rushing touchdown. I don't know, but it is a thought now that you're into the 4th quarter, and you see him just take that late hit, and you got to protect what you have in terms of your offensive weapons.
3rd down and 3. Motioning is Nielsen. Fakes the handoff to Carver. Does pitch it to Nielsen. Gets the lane. Angles up past the 40 for a nice pickup for Lance Nielsen Jr., the preseason All-Metro pick by Randy Shaver, and great two-way player for the Cougars, making his impact on both sides. 9-yard pickup for Nielsen. One of the neat stories I thought, too. I mean, Cummings is getting to be coached. His QB's coach this year, first year on the staff with Mike Diggins, is Brock Jensen, the former NDSU quarterback.
The former CFL great?
Yes, he won a Grey Cup with the Ottawa Redbacks, the guy that preceded Carson Wentz for the Bison.
Wow. No wonder he's got such a fantastic performance tonight. He's got a great coach teaching him the ropes.
And because I got family over there, the pride of Wausau, Wisconsin, I should mention as well, too. Here is a slanting out wide right, Dalen Cummings. Once again with what will be his 20th carry here tonight. He picks up 4. He's got just south of 90 yards on the evening. Also has not thrown an incomplete pass. He's a perfect 5 for 5 through the air.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing tonight, and that's what's funny to think about is he doesn't even have 100 yards on the ground, but yet he feels like he's completely owned this game and been the reason, in large part, why Centennial has dominated it so much.
Last point on Jensen here is it's a handoff to Carver up the middle for Centennial. He is the all-time winningest quarterback in FCS history, Brock Jensen. More wins a quarterback than anybody else. Was there for the first 3 of 5 straight titles for the Bison. Carver getting 6 yards out of that last carry, sets up 3rd down and 2. Carver's carried the ball 4 times for 17 yards tonight, the senior.
Of course, Brock Jensen, the former Wapaka Comet. Go Comets.
Did I say Wausau? I meant Wapaka.
You did say Wausau, but you're from Wisconsin, so we'll forgive you.
That's a handoff to Carver here, trying to slide forward.
Another 1st down. Move the chains once more for Centennial. And Matt, one thing that I've been super impressed with tonight, you look at the rushing yardage, but it's the decision making. It's knowing exactly when to make that option pitch to Lance Nielsen Jr. for maximum effect. It's knowing how to execute the perfect play fake, or when to keep it yourself, or when to hand it off. He has just seemingly made every right decision tonight, or every decision that he's made anyway, has seemed to fool the Bengal defense and been effective.
And pretty nice touch and a couple deep balls today too, where that's kind of been the knock against Cummings. They don't pass it all too much, the Cougars, but only completed 50% of his passes coming into the year. Carver, it was kept by Cummings, as Carver was still slanting out after the fake. And Cummings will carry it out for a gain of 3 this time for Centennial.
Yeah, and again, another fantastic decision where he could have pitched it wide. Someone jumped in the passing lane. A Bengal defender, as you see here, watch him play fake it, have the defender bite inside, as that was Charlie Potvin who bit on the fake, and then he just cut it back up and ended up picking up 4.
2nd down and 6 on this drive that bled over from the tail end of the 3rd quarter.
Started at the 2:53 mark of the 3rd.
Oh, Cummings kept it, still going forward, and he will get up to the 10. Big pickup there, double digits for Dalen Cummings. That'll put him past the century mark on the evening for the Cougars.
Gain of 15 down to the 9. Had our camera crew fooled, but you can't blame him because he's had the Bengals fooled all night, and I believe that might be his longest run of the game. I think his previous long was 13.
Yeah, 15-yard pickup. Longest run since his first carry of the night. So 1st and goal from the 9 here for the Cougars. Up 27-0, less than 8.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Cummings to Carver this time, spinning, falling forward, and Carver was wrapped up by Halverson just shy of the end zone. Trying to get this kid, the senior, his first touchdown of the season, as he will pick up just the 8.
All right, is it time for another Dalen Cummings touchdown run? We'll see if he decides to keep it. What he marked about a yard short.
I think you got to go for the pass here. Just add to the diversity of your portfolio tonight.
Yeah, well, they've been able to do that as well on a couple 4th down runs. Just the QB plunge straight ahead. That's what I'm calling here.
He's done the sneak a couple of times tonight. Cummings, he'll hand off. Carver leaping. Does he get his first of the year? Waiting for the signal. It is a touchdown for Will Carver. Touchdown Cougars. And Dylan Carver has his first of the season.
And Cummings is so happy for Carver. What a terrific teammate Dalen Cummings is for his classmate, the diminutive Carver, who gets congratulations and a lot of pats on the helmet as he cashes in what was a really productive drive for him with 6, and Centennial continues to pile it on.
Listed at 5'3", 140. He has not looked at tonight when he's run into a couple of Bengal bodies in his way. Nowaski drives it through to get back on track. Make it 34-0 Centennial with 7.5 minutes left to play here in the 4th.
Boy, we just continue to be stunned as you just see here. Carver leaping over the pile, all 5'3" of them, getting across the goal line for the 5th rushing touchdown of the game for Centennial, and they have just dominated from start to finish. They took that opening kickoff down, a 16-play, 9-minute and 21-second drive that was capped off by a beautiful touchdown run by Cummings, and that really set the tone for the entire game, and it has been all Centennial. And obviously the Frank Daniels injury affected things, no question about it, but the Cougars, they aren't going to apologize for that. They're going to take this win tonight and hope to continue the momentum rolling into their next game.
Yeah, just absolutely terrific performance from Centennial tonight, who will have a date with recently struggling but still very dangerous Minnetonka coming up, and what will be a little bit of a longer turnaround next week Friday, when the Skippers will come and face Centennial in their home field.
Minnetonka in action tonight. Last we checked, they were up 17-0 over the Totino Grace Eagles.
That's the only other 6A football game going around in town tonight, as Jack Johnson cuts up the middle, breaks it out wide right, stiffs another tackler. Jack Johnson into Centennial territory, giving the Bengal fans something to cheer about.
This one's not coming back. Jack Johnson, boy, you just never know that he was a defensive back or a linebacker last year, because he has shown some serious moves, and thankfully for Blaine, this one not called back due to a hold.
And check out this block from Blankers. he got the block, and then Johnson had to shed him a little bit.
Johnson wisely bounced it outside, and now, honestly, at this point for Blaine, you're just worrying about getting some points on the board and not getting shut out, salvaging a little pride here at home.
They're going to come out with a 4 wide receiver set in the spread offensive look. Michael Douglas, talented junior running back, offset from, again, Tyler Terry, the wide receiver who's had to move over and play as the quarterback tonight with the injury to Frank Daniels. Terry will pitch to Douglas, shaking it out to the left, flag down in the field, I think for a block in the back that is going to be pulling this play back for the Bengals. Zach Schusted, and extended the arms a little bit from behind.
And he's got long 6'6" arms, so it makes it pretty obvious. I maintain, though, anytime you pull your hands
Personal
back.
foul, blindside block, offense, number 85. 15 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Wow, I thought they were going to get a block in the back, but a blindside block, that is tough. And as you see him Yeah, I think that's probably the right call. But anytime you hold your hands up like I didn't do anything right in front of the ref, you're more likely than not to draw a flag.
It's just a natural reaction. Tough to stop. 7 minutes left to go. Bengals take a quick snap. Terry rolling out. Slings it. Looking for one of his men, number 85, Zach Schusted. Pretty good coverage closed down on him by Perner.
Well, Schusted giveth and Schusted taketh away. He committed the penalty, and then he got all the penalty yardage back on that catch.
He is a matchup problem.
Yeah, he really is. And the defender came up, the safety came up and made a play on the ball, but Schusted a big frame at 6'6".
Picks up about 25 on the play. That one nearly thrown away by Terry. Closing down was Henry Perner, nearly coming with the takeaway. Matthew Plankers kind of turned into a defensive back to try to swat that one away for the Bengals.
Perner has been filling in at quarterback with the absence of Dalen Cummings, but he's more normally a safety, and he did his job right there, knocking that football away.
So 3rd down and 10 here coming up for the Bengals. Got a few new faces into the game at wide receiver with Terry now playing quarterback. Here's a nice little curl route here to Plankers. He gets swallowed up at the 40 after a pickup of 5 with forward progress. Still driving. What Plankers will say was a little bit after the whistle was Caden Coppersmith, one of the sophomore backups at linebacker coming in.
Yeah, and Centennial's not going to give any quarter. They've got their nickel package out there with 4 wide receivers set, but they're still swarming to that football here. 4th and 4. This might be the game right here.
Douglas switches sides off to the left to Terry. Looks to Plankers. The lone receiver on the near side just overshoots him. It was going to be a tough catch with the coverage closing down from number 15 for Centennial, Larson. And it's turned over on downs here by the Bengals.
And it's just been that kind of night for Blaine. You know, they get good field position off that kickoff return, able to move it 5 yards or so, but big penalty sets them back, and then really couldn't overcome it from there. And so now is Henry Perner going to take over a quarterback, or are we still going to have Dalen Cummings out there? Or someone different. Number 20.
Yeah, 20 under center. That's Tyson Botch, who is going to keep it on his first play into the game. Listed as an outside linebacker and tight end for the Cougars, a 5'9", 190-pound junior.
As the rain begins to fall here. Now I have to ask, Matt, with him under center, is every snap a botched snap?
Oh boy. At least we waited till the 4th quarter today. That's Bill Hupp. Send your complaints to him. I'm Matt Dean, North Metro TV.
At Bill_Hupp. At me. Send me your best puns.
Botch receiving the snap here for the Cougars with some of the backups in. As good of a script as they could have written here tonight against their rivals. Dalen Cummings with 4 rushing touchdowns, 105 yards, as you can close the book on him, presumably with Botch in at quarterback under center.
Bengals close out the regular season with 2 road games, visiting Wayzata next week and then ending the season at Osseo. So two programs that are sort of middling this year, but also, you know, are have some talent at their disposal. So certainly no gimmies, and road games always a challenge. And how will the health of Frank Daniels be? That's the big question for this Blaine team coming out of this game.
Handoff from Botch went to Carver once again. Nope, this is actually one of the new backs into the game for Centennial. Zach Nelson getting his first carry, a 5'10", 175-pound senior. Will pick up 5 on his first rush.
In case you're wondering, Blaine girls soccer did end up overcoming Park Center 9-1, the score. at
That would have been
Park
tough.
Center.
That would have been tough if Kendall Stadden was here at this one, where they did not need the talents of the super clutch kicker. But, yeah, top 5 ranked Bengal soccer team doing just fine. They're still undefeated, right?
I believe they have lost.
Oh, that's since the last time I did a game.
A couple games. Get a Blaine girls soccer update for you here.
I thought you were just an encyclopedia of knowledge about Blaine athletics.
I believe they've lost to Andover and maybe one more, but
they had a tie against Andover earlier this year.
Yeah, they're 13-1-1 on the season now with this win tonight. They got a game against Waconia on the weekend. They tied Andover, and they did lose to Woodbury 2-0 at Woodbury. So
that was the game
happened.
after the one I did. So yeah, there you go.
That happened. Waconia closing out the regular season, but you figure they'll be the top seed in that sectional. A sectional that includes Andover, Blaine, and Centennial. If you can believe it, Centennial very likely to be the 3rd seed in that section 7.
Blaine and Centennial, I think, we're playing in volleyball tonight too.
Another big game. You can catch highlights of those games, this game, and more on Sports Den. Matt Dean and Mary Rominger will have Sports Den for you on Monday.
Making my debut on the Sports Den on
That's
Monday.
right.
I might add. That is Botch keeping it for Centennial. Trying to spring forward. Did he get the 1 yard? They'll say he did. Pick up a first down for quarterback in the game. Tyson Botch with a pickup of 2 and a first down carry.
Tune in to see Matt Dean in a coat and tie and maybe see him sweat. We'll see.
Oh, so it's hot in there.
No, well, the lights are very hot.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm just fat. I don't know. They do.
It's
You're more relatable
right.
that way.
I mean, right? You watch an action movie, you got to get a little greased up for the camera.
Yeah.
It's like a Michael Bay film on the Sports Den.
Yes.
That's what we're going for.
And I'm not very good at powdering my nose, so.
And stoppage here. Do we have a timeout coming? Delay a game. It's going to be
5-yard penalty, first down.
We are fully in backup mode now, as love to see the kids get a run in a big game. The Dalen Cummings show tonight.
Yeah, loved seeing tonight. One of my favorite moments was when Carver got to run in his first touchdown of the season for the Cougars. Dylan Carver, you saw how pumped, like you mentioned, Bill, that Dalen Cummings was for him. Saw Coach Travis Littlefield, the offensive coordinator on the sideline, greet him with a big hug. Everybody getting really fired up anytime you have a game where you have the good fortune of bringing in the backups late into the proceedings. It's fun to see what it means for these guys down here right now.
Well, Carver, he was in from the beginning, and obviously they're continuing to look for help, as Jaden Hill was a little hobbled tonight. Obviously Maverick Harper is done for the season, so more than likely. So they're just looking for anyone to help out at running back and get yardage. So, but you love seeing the hardworking backups get paid off. Their hard work paid off with the first touchdown in his career, and Dalen Cummings knows what that feeling's like, as he had 4 of them tonight.
That was Tyler Schumacher getting his first carry of the game, possibly of the season, as he picks up 6 yards there. There's an injured Bengal down on the field. Number 16 is Leif Nielsen.
The aforementioned Leif Nielsen.
For just picking us up here in North Metro TV, it is a game in which Centennial went up 7-0 after the first quarter. In fact, scored in each of their first 3 offensive drives of the evening. 4 touchdown runs from Dalen Cummings, who finished with 105 yards rushing on the ground. Somewhere in the whereabouts 60 yards passing. He was a perfect 5 for 5 through the air. So Centennial cruising to what will be their 2nd straight victory over Blaine here, after taking what was a 26-14 victory at their home field last year, Cougar Stadium. Bill Hupp is headed down to midfield. He's going to be interviewing one of the Centennial players after the game. Any guesses on who we might be talking to? There's going to be a run out here to the near side from, again, a new back. That's Tim Akinорpo, number 37. There is a flag down on the field.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Offense number 83. 15 yards from the end of the run. 4th down.
Goes against Thomas Dexters, the number 83, who's in the game at wide receiver for Centennial. So brings up a lengthy 4th down here. So the punt unit's out in the field, and it'll be Eli Nowaski to handle it. First time the Cougars have punted tonight. So here's Nowaski, who handles all the special teams kicks for the Cougars. He will down it inside the 35, where it is dropped by Tyson Botch. And the Bengals will get one last possession here with just about 2 minutes left to play. Bill mentioned it. 2 games coming up on the road for the Bengals, as they will have matchups at Wayzata, at Osseo, to really cement their place to get at least a first-round home playoff game. So the Bengals, you'd think, are going to have an opportunity to put this bad memory here at Bengal Stadium behind them with a game during the section playoffs. Here is a handoff once again to the running back. This is not Douglas, but number 27, Michael Olomiete, who's going to get a carry here in the late proceedings for the Bengals. That's just his 4th carry of the season. The 5'9", 155-pound junior pick up a 5. And we'll go with another rush up the middle. Cougars think the ball is loose, and it's going to be turned over for Centennial with their 3rd takeaway of the game. Look what I found. Malachi Thenis, number 90, comes away with the football, and Michael K. Diggins is loving it on the Centennial sideline. It's a second stringer's dream. You get into action and you come up with a football, one of your first snaps of the night. An interception and now 2 fumble recoveries for this Centennial defense. Olomiete just kind of mishandling the handoff exchange, and nobody was taking the ball out of the hands of number 90. He had the steel cold Terminator eyes glowing, and he was not letting go of that football. Minute 30 left to go as the Cougars take over at the 44 inside Bengal territory, and now we're going to see, looks like victory formation here coming up for the Cougars. What a performance from Centennial, who are going to win back-to-back games against Blaine for the first time in at least the last 8 seasons. Chained together a win 24-16 last year, another for the Cougars this year in shutout fashion, where Centennial have now held 5 of 6 opponents this year to less than 20 points, and they're on their way to pitching their a second shutout as a defense this year. They did it in a 3-0 win when they needed to at Totino Grace back in week 3, and this Centennial defense, who we told you were the real deal, making the Cougars look like potential state tournament team as they've got the offense to boot tonight. A victory over rivals Blaine, and they do it in shutout fashion. 34-0 Centennial is going to be your final here at Bengal Stadium. What a performance from the Cougars. What a game from quarterback Dalen Cummings, who finishes with over 100 yards rushing. He had 4 touchdowns for Centennial in the big game that the Cougars had circled on their calendar. We're going to come back, show you some highlights, and Bill Hupp will be down on the field to speak with the Centennial QB. We're back here at Blaine High School, where it was the Cougars rolling to a big statement victory over the Blaine Bengals. 34-0 the final here in this one on North Metro TV. We got a terrific performance here from junior quarterback Dalen Cummings. And also Lance Nielsen Jr., who is one of the standouts on both sides of the ball. This was a game in which Centennial came out, marched down the field 70 yards on 16 plays, a drive that took up nearly the entirety of the first quarter, capped it with a 2-yard touchdown run from Cummings. He would go on to score in the next 3 possessions, and the Cougars led it 7-0 after the first, 21-0 at the half, and they just rolled tonight, getting a 4-touchdown performance from the junior QB. It was Dylan Carver, the senior running back, who had the other. And just an outright dominant performance from Centennial, who held Blaine to just 14 snaps in that first half. The time of possession so important for what Mike Diggins' side was able to do against the Bengals. First time that we have seen Centennial beat Blaine in back-to-back seasons in at least the last 6 years, and the Cougars do it in dominant fashion, and they get it done with a big road victory in shutout fashion here in this one. Also of note, think about Centennial moving forward versus Minnetonka at Woodbury the next 2 weeks. And we have got Bill Hupp down on the field, and he is set to speak with 2 of the standout stars for the Centennial Cougars.
Thanks, man. I'm down on the field here after a 34-0 win on the road for Centennial tonight, with Dalen Cummings, the quarterback, and Lance Nielsen Jr., the all-everything for this Centennial Cougars team. And Dalen, for you, let's start with you tonight. Over 100 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns on the ground. You really had it cooking. Really from that first drive, how much did that first drive set the tone for the entire game?
I mean, that first drive is everything in the game. Your whole team gets hype. I mean, everybody, our student section, our fans, they travel out here. Everyone's getting hype, and that just, really drives us throughout the game.
You missed a couple games due to injury, but are you feeling more comfortable now that you've been back for a couple weeks? And how much more potential does this offense have?
Oh, yeah, I'm back for sure. I'm 100%. And this offense, we're just getting started. This was a little warm-up game for playoffs. I mean, we're ready to roll.
It's got to feel good knowing you play with a defense that has pitched a couple shutouts and has just been thoroughly dominant this season, knowing that, if you guys just score a couple touchdowns, you're going to be in these football games.
Yeah, I mean, our defense is everything. Defense wins championships. Everyone knows that saying. And this defense has played outstanding this year. I mean, making big stops on 4th down, blocking punts. I mean, they do everything.
Lance Nielsen Jr., you had a fumble recovery tonight and led a hard-hitting defense that pitched its second shutout of the season. What has been the key to your guys' successful defense this year?
Working hard in practice, that's all I can say. Everyone's watching their film, staying on top of that. Everyone's connecting and knowing what the responsibilities are, and stuff might change week to week, but everyone knows, and like I said, watching the film, everyone's just grinding it out.
This Blaine Bengals offense had been pretty balanced and had come into your top 10 in the state in a couple different categories. What did you guys try to do? What was the game plan tonight to try to slow down this Bengals attack?
Definitely slow down their run, and we had faith in our corners and everyone who was locked down. We were playing a lot of man coverage, so we had a lot of faith in our guys, made plays especially, and held them to 0. That's all I can say.
Dalen, I'll end it with you. This team has now won 2 straight. You got a couple big ones coming up, however, against Minnetonka and Woodbury. How important is it to continue the momentum rolling into the playoffs?
It's huge to keep the momentum. If we keep it rolling, I think we got a good shot at state this year. I mean, we just got to keep working hard in practice, keep grinding out the games, and we'll be all right.
All right, well, thanks, guys, for joining us. It's Dalen Cummings and Lance Nielsen Jr. down in the field after a 34-0 victory tonight over their rival Blaine. Matt, back up to you in the booth.
Thanks, Bill. Great stuff from that duo, Lance Nielsen Jr., Dalen Cummings, couple of the captains on this Cougar team that really feels like they are steering the ship in the right direction and a potential bid on to a state tournament. Centennial dominates tonight right from the outset. 4 touchdowns from Dalen Cummings, who Bill Hupp spoke with. They scored in their first 3 drives of the night, and it was Centennial red flying high here amongst the Bengal blue from Blaine High School tonight. A border battle rivalry that the Cougars take in shutout fashion here tonight. Want to thank our entire terrific crew at North Metro TV, led by Kenton Kipp. From Bill Hupp, my broadcast partner, myself, Matt Dean, signing out one final time here from Blaine, where it was Centennial 34, the Blaine Bengals 0.